Back to work, back to work, back to work. Man, this is an exhausting place to live. Um, Earl. As far as, yeah, no, I do not like it here. You know, I was born here. When you're surrounded by a bunch of people that had a bunch of scientists that were studying you before you're born, yeah, the main cause of stress and disease and mass murder and stuff, and no, you know, well, like I said, you get raped in a room for 58 years. You don't want to come back in that room and say, "Oh, such wonderful memories." You know what I'm saying? I carry mom with me, you know, in here, and Emily and Kate and Noah and Natalie and my two ex-wives were so abused by the military and their science thing. Why didn't it? Yeah, they abused me. I'm unique. I'm very unique. There are not a lot of people in the world like me. And I'll explain this to you guys one more time. Okay, it's genome sequencing, genetic sequencing. Okay. They, as the technology got more advanced, you got to understand. Steffi was born in '69, and I was born in '66. Okay. Amy was born in 1980. Okay. And the technology, they had the technology with the genome sequencing saying these people have communications, they have a history together, they communicate through prayer. Okay. And I'm one of the strongest prayer signals in the whole world. There's like Judah Krishnamurti, me, you know, Haile Selassie was one like John the Baptist. There's more. I'm the one line: Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John. I know a lot of people want to believe that. Haile Selassie himself said he was the one like John the Baptist. Okay, that the one like David in spirit, you know, is a pale rider to the north, and it looks like the artist representation. He's a white dude. Okay, and because that's what happened during the when John talked to Jesus and said, "They're not going to turn me into a god. The Romans are going to turn you into a god, my light-skinned cousin." Okay. So, because you know you look like a Roman, I don't. They're not going to make an Egyptian, you know, Ethiopian their god. Okay. And so they're going to do it to you. They're going to torture you. Jesus was just glad that they didn't do it to his cousin John, who he adored. Well, if you're going to take one for the team, you don't want your cousin to do it. I'll do it for you, bro. And we're like that. We're like that. And it was a small amount of people, a small group, a very oppressed, angry, vicious group that turned Haile Selassie into a god. And the same thing happened with Jesus, you know, but it was in the modern era. It was for a less amount of time and stuff. But and when Jesus, you know, when I would talk about things about 2,000 years of suffering for Jesus, we're not talking about Jesus being alive for 2,000 years in the clouds watching us and going, "Oh, suffer, suffer, suffer." You're talking about eternal wretchedness perpetuating and denying true, faithful fellowship. Do you understand? Okay. It's a spiritual thing. So when you sit there, you're only 58 years old. Life's eternal, grace is infinite. I am the heart of King David. How long have I been suffering eternal wretchedness through people like you trying to teach you to be faithful? Do you understand? Okay, I was born this way. When you're a little kid that sits there and explains to corporate leaders in the Mormon church it's wrong to pagan ritual sacrifice Jesus Christ to save you from being a disgusting pile of shit. You're a very intelligent, astute, spiritual human being by the time you're 3.5 years old, assholes. It's such a... That song's stuck in my head now. Pretty world today. I remember that song when I was a kid. My mom and dad used to listen to country music because dad used to ride the rodeo and stuff. So we had a lot of country music. Mom got us more or less into the R&B stuff. It was easy for me to get into R&B. I love R&B music. It was real easy. Stylistics, you have to be tone deaf and mentally retarded in some ways not to love Roscoe Tompkins Jr. The stylistics. You don't like that? What the hell's wrong with you? You can listen to that, but you can't listen to that? Seriously? You know. Sounds like, well, Dad, Gabe said the same thing about Wayne Cooper. He sounds like a woman. It's like, yeah, he does sound like a woman, but he's a wonderful singer. I like Wayne Cooper a lot, but let's focus. Well, let's focus on what we need to do, okay? Because you guys got to understand, it's not human nature, okay? Human nature. I'm not talking about animalistic nature. I'm not talking about Cro-Magnon hits you over the head with a club and haul you into a cave and rape you and kill your suitor that was nicer to you. I'm not talking about Cro-Magnon animalistic nature. I'm talking about human nature. You as a human being, okay? Our nature, okay, is not to be competitive. It's to be cooperative. Get the whole village together so we don't kill ourselves spraying into the clouds. Because the thing is here's why. Because if you went out like one farmer in Nebraska with your big old combine and all that stuff, and everything, you bring in all the food, how are you going to eat all that food? Who's going to eat all that food? It's going to go bad, right? So you do it together for everybody. It's not for you to make lots of money and I'm a moron and I want to fuck the best girl, so I'm Uday and I made the, I got it, National Geographic, shut up. So do you understand? We're meant to be cooperative. Okay. What happens is when we start to, it's the Tower of Babel, when we start to take our humility from faith in God and turn it into projection of philos and self, is when we fuck up. And King David, when I think it's about me, I fuck up. When I give all praise to the Spirit of the Lord and have faith in Jehovah, that's when everything goes right. Right? Okay. So, grouchy today. Well, my leg hurts, man. I was in the shed and I was connecting to people that had a virtual presence in the shed. And I overdid it on my exercise. Suzuki kind of laughed at me. And we were watching some of the stuff on TV. We were watching the Scooby-Doo Samurai thing. And Cotton goes back to Japan thing, and Suzuki's like, he goes, don't you just hate those idiots that sit there and forge a sword because they want something, and then they try to use that sword to kill the man that protects the women from him raping them? So it's the guy who tries to rape Bambi comes back with a sword and kills Bambi because he's got swords. He's got polished, sharpened razors on his antlers instead of antlers. Those kind of perverts, those kind of pussy faces. You're my little pussy face, and and there's, you got to understand, like when you hear people talk about, oh, we're the most oppressed people in the whole world. The history of Africa has a long history of raping, marauding groups of mass hordes, and if these people don't become certain pimps, and gangbangers don't become that way overnight because other people made them do it. It's something they perpetuated. Not cultivating being a human, but acting animalistic. Because it's in our nature. It's not in our nature. Cro-Magnon, all those kind of things. You died off years ago, okay? You as a human being, why don't you change, right? So you got to understand, within human nature, as you would perceive it as evolution, like Judy talked about in 1985 at the UN, our nature is to cooperate, not compete to kill to get what you want. Because we need, and it's basic science. Basic science is basic religion. In order to sustain an eternal life through loving one another, you need to appreciate the laws that are giving you to sustain that eternal life without destroying it by being like an instinctual survivalist animal. That's why that quiet place doesn't make sense. That the attack from the wackadoodles on the end game, on the Avengers, none of that shit makes sense. Like I told you, those movies, the bigger fish, the Coruscant, none of that shit makes sense. It does not make sense. It does not add up scientifically, intellectually, emotionally. Okay? None of that stuff, it's where you're going to keep it all. In a big old giant animal hunting down human being, keep quiet sperm bank. And then you have an enzyme that goes and kills them all, but it's related to you. And then the genetics, and then you put something in the thing, and then it would transform to do the same thing to you. That's how diseases and things like that mutate when you get out of the way disgusting, and it has to destroy the disgusting to maintain the symbiotic relationships for what we know as life. So it doesn't make sense, right? Everything you guys talk and do about in your competition because you're self-destructive does not hold water. It sucks. Star Wars, Star Trek, you're all like, okay, there you got that. Boom, boom, boom. You can sit there and slice it to shreds and cut it up and put it in a wok and, okay, everybody eat now, cooperate, I love you, okay? in 5 minutes or less. I love you guys. I'm going to go check the mail.